The purpose of this video is to explain how to assess the chapter quizzes that include extended response questions. First, a little history about this assignment. Previously, we asked students to read the textbook chapters and to come up with 5 key points that mattered to them in their development as a college student, and then to discuss those key points in paragraph form. We quickly found out that that was a lot more work than we anticipated for students, and so in order to still ensure that students were interacting with the textbook and reading the chapters, we are moving to chapter quizzes, which those of us who have piloted have found to be very successful. So students will take a 10-question multiple choice true or false type of quiz about the chapter, and at the end, so there'll be 10 questions there, and at the end, question 11 will be an extended response question. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the chapter quizzes will be located in the folders. So the student will take the quiz through the link here, and so they'll take the quiz there, and you'll assess it through the gradebook, obviously. So I grade through the needs grading button. You can go through the full grading center. It doesn't matter. There's multiple entry points, but if I go to the needs grading, I see 2 quizzes that need to be graded, one both the introduction, and so I'm going to take one at a time here and show you how to do that. So we're going to click on the user attempt, and again, you don't have to grade these. The first 10 questions are already assessed for you, but note if any of them are missed, you might look to see if there's a pattern there, but generally the answer should be correct and correctly graded. And so at the end is a essay question that has 3 prompts. So prompt 1, after reading the introduction, how do you think this course will benefit you? And so students will read these questions and answer in paragraph form. This is the student's answer. We'll get to that in a moment, but hopefully the student also viewed the rubric, of which you also have access to when you're grading this assignment. You'll put in the score based on the rubric, and so you as well as the student will read that. So let's assess it. Again, if you want to have your rubric open while you assess it, that's not a bad idea, so that you can see how you would rate that student's response, and so that's fine. So what I'm looking for is a paragraph response per question. I'm looking for depth, meaning for me specific examples, so on and so forth. And so so let's look at this first answer real quick. So the student says that the chapter helped them feel more confident about going to community college, and here's an example. Her father was a community college student, and so did some military time and so on and so forth. So that's a specific example. Moving on, so list and briefly describe 3 things that you hope to learn or accomplish as a result. So again, A, B, C here indicates that the student did answer the question. Again, you're reading these carefully. I'm sort of skimming over these, and so, but you're reading through these and you're making sure, just asking yourself the question, did this student fully answer, and did they go above and beyond to try to give examples, and so on and so forth. And then the last question is really important. Those of us who have piloted this have had a lot of success with this, is the question that students ask us. And so, there's no right or wrong question for any of these, just for the part 3 of these, just as long as they ask a question, right? So we found that it's an opportunity to engage with students, to answer their questions, because they have a lot of questions that don't necessarily flow with the class material, or that maybe we don't cover in class, and so it gives you an opportunity to do that. Okay, so how to give feedback. So you're going to give the student feedback after you've used the rubric here, and so let's just say that I feel like the student really did a good job here. So let's come back over here, and we'll say that student probably exceeds responses in content and depth. So the students will see that feedback, and then move on to the next one. And so, and I'm choosing not to put anything in here. It's just did the student pay attention to grammar and punctuation, which I believe they did. This is important that you pay attention to because students should not be carelessly answering. So this student is going to receive a 20 on the rubric here. And this is where you can put your feedback. Make this box bigger. So just a little note. And then their question. So let's go through here, and then I can answer their question down here. So the question is why we as a country have not made more supports to free community college for every American like they did in Tennessee. And so I guess one way to talk about that is to say the most recent infrastructure bill. That works. And I think it's, I have never spoken to anybody in the Tennessee Community College program, but, maybe encouraging that student. So there you go. I mean, that's just a suggestion, nothing major. And then save and next. So that was how how to assess that one. So there are two quizzes here, and it automatically went to the last one. And so if you're teaching a full web class, that example that I just finished was for you. Now, if you're teaching the face-to-face and live web, then this is a question where we're just asking them to do the quiz and then one question. So the majority of you will be doing this, at this meaning responding to the question. And again, you want to use the rubric because this student obviously had a good question and they went above and beyond to do the research for it. So again, the student would get 10 points on that, and you can select that on the rubric as well. So and if you save the rubric, it'll automatically do the 10 points, and then you can answer the question down here like I did before, and then you hit save and submit. There is one other thing that I'll do for a student who's really struggling with this, and that's give them an example of another student's work. And so unfortunately I can't, there's no way to do that from this box, but you can do it from this box. And so if you click here, insert from a local file, you can actually find, if you save one of your students' quizzes, I think I got one here, then it just pulls up. And so this is not the correct assignment, but I just wanted to show you an example of how, and I usually just say, this is an example of what I'm looking for so that they know. And then you hit save and next.